Hello friends, welcome. In this video, we'll be discussing eyewitness memory. Prior to starting the discussion, just look up what Gita says about the memory as a whole, not particularly eyewitness memory. Memory. There is a shlok number 63 in chapter 2, which says that Krodha Bhavati Sammoha. सम्मोह है तत्स्मृति विभ्रम है स्मृति भ्रंशाम बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशतः प्रणश्यति. It means the anger leads to clouding of judgment. Why? Because anger directly influences our frontal cortex. Cortex is responsible for the executive functions such as planning and decision making. It is obvious that anger leads to clouding of our judgment. When our judgment is clouded, this means when we feel ourselves incapable of making judgments, our memory is bewildered. Once our memory is bewildered, our intellect gets destroyed. And once our intellect gets destroyed, for which we are human, rather I say, by which we are human, once our intellect is destroyed, our humanness is destroyed or ruined. So we must understand, as far as memory is concerned, that your memory is directly related to the expressions of our emotions. And you know, anger is one of the emotions. Our emotions have direct correlation with our memory, and memory have with our intellect or the intelligence, and the intellect or intelligence is responsible for the humanness in the human beings. Now we will discuss how much we remember with increasing our age. The memory prior to 4 years of life is always almost difficult to recollect. That is sometimes known as the childhood amnesia. So when we cross the age of 50, it's a very interesting fact that we have the lesser memory of our 30s and higher memories of our teenage years. But when we age further and age about 60 or 70 years, then we could recollect the events of our 30s, and it becomes difficult to recollect our events that occurred during the 40s. It's a very interesting phenomenon. However, it's not directly related to your eyewitness memory, but it has some indirect relation with the topic we are going to discuss in this video today. Meaning cum explanation of eyewitness memory. You know what is a memory? A dynamic brain system. It involves the 3 steps: encoding, storing, and retrieval of information, which is commonly known as the memory. Now just look at the clouds during the rainy day. The clouds carry the basic content, water with them wherever they go, but they continuously change the shape. Similar case with the memory. Memory contains the basic content, but it's keep on changing, manipulating, reconstructing itself within the cognitive domain. The dynamism leads to distortion. Dynamism in the shape of the memory, just as in the shape of the clouds. So that shape leads to the distortion of the information that has been stored inside the memory, but basic content remain same. Scatter in 2001 described the phenomena of distortion in our memory system as a sin. The sum of the sins are transience, absent-mindedness, blocking, misattribution, suggestibility, bias. These are not kind of actually sins. there are kind of distortions that occur inside our memory. And they are natural, not manipulated one. They are beyond the awareness or the consciousness of the individual. This means they are beyond the control or involuntarily they occur. In fact, these distortions are seen in some kind while they proved as a boon in some other situations. So very interesting phenomenon. Memory of both personal and non-personal events. So what is a personal event? Personal event means the event which is directly related to our life. Non-personal event means the event which is not directly related to our life, yet we have observed that phenomenon. Suppose you are observing a beautiful flower. A bee, honey bee, is sucking the nectar from the flower, and you are mesmerized with the color of the flower and the style of sucking the nectar. The memory of that event is a non-personal one. That is not related to your personal life, yet you have in your brain. So this is a differentiation between the personal and non-personal events. Constructive means construction, manipulation of some events, as there is a construction of a building or there is a construction of toys by the interlocking blocks by the children. So there's a kind of a construction. The similar meaning is also related to the memory. So construction means what all has been said by the individual, by the witness, is not exactly what has been seen or the heard. In Hindi, sometimes we call it as a namak mirch lagana. Means when someone recalls some information or explains something, that is not exactly the same which has been seen or heard by the individual. So that is the adding something or missing something. That's a kind of a construction of the phenomena, and that is one of the distortions in the memory. The recall of the information is influenced by several factors, such as our prior experiences, post-event information, perceptual factors. So these are the some factors that directly influence our recall. Sometimes the suggestion from others, sometimes how we perceive the things, and the information which we receive post-event, that also significantly influence our recall. As I told you, the memory is dynamic. It's not a static one. It is constantly updated, revised, modified without the awareness of the individual. The individual has no knowledge that my memory is being manipulated by my cognitive system. The distortion, that is a regular part of our memory, it occurs due to the displacement of original information. The information which has been stored by observing the event, that information is displaced by the incoming information. That is the post-event information, because that have higher value in terms of your emotional activation or some other phenomena. When the post-event information displaces the original information, that time there is a bound to occur a phenomena we generally call it a distortion of the memory. The original information is veiled by the retroactive interference, making it difficult for the individual to recall it completely. Now, you know that our memory is fallible and prone to distortion. Certainly, eyewitness memory is a part of that, and it has also its own flaws. This means it also is prone to distortion and manipulation, construction and the reconstruction. So, prior to the work of Elizabeth Loftus and others, and his colleagues, the eyewitness memory was considered accurate and convincing evidence by the judicial system or the court of the law. Whatever the witness has described was considered as the sacrosanct and solid proof against the so-called accused or the criminal. But Elizabeth Loftus and others proved through their experiment that eyewitness memory is also liable to manipulation, liable to distortion. So the account given by the witness may and may not be as accurate as has been taken by the jury. And most of the evidence in the judicial system are physical one. That may be the biological evidence also, such as blood stains or some other marks. These evidences are circumstantial. Eyewitness evidence or the eyewitness account is the direct evidence available in the court of the law. But that evidence has its own flaws, and that has been addressed by the various peoples through their research. Then the eyewitness memory has potential to decide the conviction, sentence, and even execution also. There are lots of cases across the globe where eyewitness memory has been later proved to be wrong by the various other scientific techniques such as the DNA technique. Because prior to the scientific advancement, the eyewitness memory was taken as the granted by the court, granted by the legal system. Because legal system is based on the reasoning and logic and the solid proofs. But the experiment by the Loftus and her colleagues and other people showed that memory is fallible and prone to distortion, construction and reconstruction. Why it occurs in the memory? Why there is distortion in the memory? Why there is a construction, reconstruction of the events in the memory? There are certain reasons. One of them is the simple inferences. When people draw simplest inferences from various type of information they have gathered from the event. That is about the event at the initial stage, and that is significantly influences the subsequent recall. When we make our first impression of the event, out of that first impression, we try to come with an inference, kind of a judgment at that moment. That judgment is bound to influence our subsequent recall when the individual or when the witness is produced in the court of the law. That time, that account of the event is influenced by the simple inference made at the initial stage of the observation of the event. The second phenomena is the stereotypes. The stereotypes can be positive as well as the negative. But both the cases, whether they are positive or the negative, they significantly influences the subsequent recall. If someone has some negative stereotype towards a specific group, towards a specific community, towards a specific people, in that case, the information related to that individual is significantly influenced by the stereotype. The third reason for the distortion of the memory is the schemas, a kind of mental maps or the cognitive maps or the assumptions about the outer environmental stimuli, the stimuli that is coming from the immediate environment. So they are a kind of a program of a mind, because the information is received through senses. That information creates a kind of a program in our mind, as there is a software in the computer system. Similarly, there is a programs in our mind that are the resultant of our experience. The entry of new information, because your senses are always ready to receive the information. The information which we receive subsequent to the event that information has to interact with the previous information, and this previous information in terms of schemas tend to influence the incoming information. When an individual observes the event, that new information from that event, when it enters into the brain for the storage, that is significantly influenced by the schemas that are already been set in the brain by virtue of experience. That also lead to the distortion of the recall or the eyewitness memory. Then sometimes there may occur an error while during the encoding process, while during the storage or through the recall. When there is an error out of these three stages of the memory formation, certainly there is a kind of a distortion that occurs in the memory, and that significantly influences the eyewitness account. The next that influences the memory is the nature of the stimuli. Nature means the new stimuli attracts our attention. The bizarre events attract our attention. The stimuli that provokes our emotions also attract our attention and significantly influence the information that has to be stored in our brain in the form of a memory. A similar case with the eyewitness memory. If someone observed at some event or some phenomena or some criminal activity, the event which is new to the individual during that whole process of the criminal activity will have more impression in the brain, and that individual remember that information for a longer period of time and accurately. And the next one, the prior knowledge, the expectations, the deductive processes and the reconstructive processes, these all leads to the distortion in the eyewitness memory. You know deductive process, the reducing the information from the large amount of information and come out with a simple statement. Reconstruction means adding something new and removing something that was already present. That's a kind of a reconstruction. Now, we had all introduction and explanation as far as the memory and eyewitness memory is concerned. By the time, I am sure that you must have some kind of understanding what is eyewitness memory. Now, if you want to conclude the whole process we have discussed till now in few sentences or in few words, we can define the eyewitness memory in these words. The recall of account of a crime or a violent scene by an individual who had witnessed the event herself or himself is normally called as the eyewitness memory. When an individual has witnessed the event himself or herself, that is, he or she has not gained the information about the event through some social media or through friend or something else or print media. No, the individual was present physically at the point or at the crime scene. That is the eyewitness memory. Lastly, we'll be discussing some strategies to handle the information distortion. The expression of public statement about the original information prior to feeding of post-event information. It means when an individual has witnessed a scene or an event, before the individual receives other feedback or other information from other sources, if there is a wide range coverage of that event in the media or in the people, certainly that individual's memory will remain intact as far as that event is concerned. It becomes or it helps in a kind of maintenance rehearsal for the individual. That scene or the events or the observations that individual has made remain afresh in the mind. The second strategy is warning to the witness about the incoming post-event information, and rather it is a misinformation that prevents the distortion. If the witness is sufficiently warned that the post-event information is a kind of misinformation that is designed and planted by the individuals who want to gain something out of the event. If the witness is warned in advance, that time also the distortion can be prevented. Then, if the nature of the post-event information, rather I say misinformation, seems to just opposite of the actual information, that also buttresses the information in the witness mind and prevents the distortion of the original information. This means the misinformation which is just opposite to the event must be spread through the media, print, electronic or social media as the case may be. So it will prevent the distortion in the eyewitness memory. These are my references. You can cross-check them and you can study for deeper understanding of eyewitness memory. So, our next discussion will be accuracy of eyewitness memory. If you like the contents and presentation style of this video, tell to others. But if there are some issues, some critical comments to make, some suggestions or some new ideas, just drop a comment in my comment box or you can email me at varmasujit@yahoo.com. Thanks friends for watching.